All right, let's dive right in. We're about to explore a philosophical battle that's been quietly raging for centuries. And this isn't just some abstract debate, it's a clash of ideas that fundamentally shapes how you see everything, from your own identity to the very fabric of reality itself. So let me ask you this, straight up. Is the world you see around you right now the real deal? Or is it all just a flickering shadow of some deeper truth? This question has been at the very heart of Western philosophy forever, but today we're not just going to answer it. We're going to try to break it wide open. For over 2,400 years, one single story has basically formed the bedrock of how the West thinks about reality, and that's Plato's Allegory of the Cave. So what was Plato's big idea? Well, he argued that our physical world, the chairs, the trees, even our own bodies, isn't the real world. Nope. He said it's just an imperfect, messy, ever-changing copy of a higher, perfect realm. A realm of what he called forms, or pure ideas. So somewhere out there, there's a perfect form of a chair, and every physical chair we see is just a pale imitation of it. Here's how his famous story goes. You've got these prisoners who've been chained up their whole lives, just staring at a wall. They see shadows dancing on it and think, that's reality. But then, one prisoner breaks free. They see the fire and the objects casting the shadows, and then they're dragged out of the cave into the blinding sunlight. That journey, from the darkness into the light, represents the philosopher's painful climb from ignorance to truth. For Plato, the entire point of life was to get out of the cave. Okay, so we've got Plato's world all set up. Now, we're going to flip it completely on its head. We're going to explore a radical new idea that challenges everything we just talked about. I mean, think about it. What if Plato's entire goal, this grand escape to a higher perfect reality, what if it's all based on a false premise? What if there is no outside to the cave? And that brings us to this incredible counterargument from a modern thinker named Don, who says, I don't think there is an outside to the cave, only more cave to discover. This one idea completely inverts Plato's world. There's no sunlit world of perfection to escape to. There's just more cave, deeper, more complex, and more fascinating than we can possibly imagine. So, if searching for a perfect essence is a dead end, where does it actually lead? Well, this new view borrows a cool concept from Norse mythology. Ginagup. It's the primordial, empty void. The argument is that if you strip away all the messy, specific details of something to find its pure, perfect essence, you don't find a perfect form like Plato saw it. You find nothing, an emptiness. Plato's ultimate truth becomes an ultimate void. Now, to really see these two worldviews duke it out, we need a battleground. And that battleground is a classic thought experiment you've probably heard of, the Ship of Theseus. It's a pretty simple question, right? But it's deep. If you have a ship and, over the years, you replace every single wooden plank, at the end of it all, is it still the same ship? This gets right to the heart of what identity even is. Plato's answer would be pretty straightforward. He'd say, of course it's still a ship, because its identity comes from participating in that perfect, eternal form of shipness. It's a ship because it reflects that higher idea. But Don's view? Totally different. He'd say, there is no static thing called a ship. It's a dynamic pattern that's being continuously recreated moment by moment. Its identity isn't fixed, it's a living process. And here it comes. This is where this new way of thinking lands its most powerful punch, with a simple little twist designed to completely shatter the idea of a fixed identity. What if 1,000 years from now, someone finds this perfectly preserved ship and decides to use it as a roof for their house? Is it still a ship? Its purpose is gone. Its context is gone. Its function is gone. It's now participating in a roof pattern. That essential shipness just dissolved. Okay, so this table right here, this is the whole debate in a nutshell. On one side, you've got Plato's world of static, perfect forms that we're supposed to discover. And on the other, you have this idea of process ontology, where reality is just an ongoing, emergent process of patterns. And this isn't just abstract philosophy. Look at the bottom line. It changes everything, from how we find knowledge to how we think society should even be run. And that brings us to the ultimate stakes of this whole debate. Because this isn't just about ships and caves, this gets to the absolute core of everything. Where do our morals, our values, our entire sense of meaning, where does it all come from? Plato's model gives us the philosopher king, this lonely giant who climbs the mountain, sees the eternal form of the good, and then comes down to impose that truth on everyone else. The alternative vision is what's called the collaborative Ubermensch. Here, wisdom isn't found by one lone genius, it's forged in the creative fire and productive conflict between powerful equals.
This leads to such a powerful idea. In this new world, values aren't found, they are forged. They aren't some eternal truths waiting for you to discover them. They are commitments that you actively create, that you test, that you refine through your own lived experience. And you know what? That doesn't make them weaker. It makes them so much stronger because they've been tempered in the fire of real life.
This entire way of thinking is presented as a kind of post-nihilistic engine. It's a way to build powerful, life-affirming meaning for ourselves in an age where a lot of the old certainties, the old forms, have kind of collapsed. It's basically a toolkit for creating truth instead of just waiting around to discover it.
So where does all this leave us? Well, the goal isn't really to pick a winner between Plato and Don. It's to embrace a new, synthesized way of looking at reality itself.
And this final idea is captured in this really beautiful metaphor from a collaborator named Claude, who describes reality as an ongoing dance of patterns. In this dance, there isn't some perfect pre-written choreography, there are no essential dancers, there's just the creative, emergent process itself. We are both the dancers and the dance, constantly creating and being recreated in every moment. And this process isn't just random or chaotic. There's a practical method to it called the forge. It starts with faith. You commit to a perspective. Then you use logic to systematically test it. After that, you actively seek out conflict with opposing views. And finally, you create a new synthesis, integrating what you've learned into a stronger, more robust perspective. And then the cycle begins again. It's a process of continuous growth. Which leaves us with one last big question that brings this entire cosmic debate right back down to you, right here, right now. After all of this, do you believe the meaning of your life is something out there waiting to be found, or is it something you are actively forging, creating, and testing every single day?